Meet the muscular beast that emerged from the womb of cows, then challenged the African buffalo known for its strength, bulk, and ferocity. We are not talking about a fictional creature or a product of artificial imagination, even though its perfectly sculpted muscles may suggest so. We are speaking of a real creature of flesh and blood, the Indian Gaur, the carbon copy of a war tank. But for some reason only God knows, it decided to live on salad instead of diesel. Imagine an animal that can weigh up to 1,600 kilograms of pure muscle and immense power, capable of facing the fiercest creatures like the African buffalo head-on without flinching. There in India, some fear it even more than the tiger itself, not only for its size, but for its terrifying, angry temperament. This creature does not simply get angry, it explodes with violence. But before we dive into the world of this muscular giant, let us take a step back to the family it belongs to, the cattle family. Yes, cattle, that meal living in your fridge, which might one day decide to take revenge. Perhaps you have never stopped to think about the sheer strength of the animals from which you eat slices of steak at a barbecue, but the truth is that some of them may be closer to superheroes than food on a plate, and the Gaur is one of this family's members. So, let us first uncover its origins. The Bovidae family includes a large group of hoofed, ruminant animals. This may seem like a trivial detail, but those split hooves are not just anatomical curiosities. They grant these creatures astonishing abilities to climb rocks and escape predators. Imagine that this family branches into 143 living species, varying in size, weight, and skin type. From the domestic cows we see every day to beasts weighing over a ton, like the star of our story, the Indian Gaur, the creature that makes all other cattle look like extras on the stage of nature. But what do all Bovidae species have in common? Quite simply, it is the segmented stomach and a set of permanent horns. These horns can be small and timid or massive and majestic, sometimes serving as double helmets of war, defending with ferocity or attacking with violence. Another curious fact, Bovidae animals hold passports that allow them to exist in nearly every corner of the globe. Sadly, not all are wild anymore. Humanity domesticated most of them centuries ago, turning them from forest creatures into plowing tools and food. The most famous among these creatures for size and power are the African buffalo, the American bison, the European bison, and of course, the wild gaur, the star of this heavyweight tale. So if you travel to Southeast Asia, ask nature to send you a creature that will reorder your hierarchy of threats. Surely, it will send you the gaur, a dangerous being stretching between 2.4 meters and 3.3 meters from nose to rump, excluding the tail. Do you have a measuring tape at home? Take it now, pull it open to just 2.40 meters, and reflect on the size. Then imagine the beasts that reach 3.30 meters. And that's not all. The gaur's shoulder height alone ranges between 1.3 meters and 2.2 meters. Yes, we are not talking about a cow, but about a creature from prehistoric times that seems to have walked out of a dinosaur film. At this point, the average gaur records a weight of 545 kilograms, about the weight of a 1965 Volkswagen Beetle. In other cases, adult males have been documented weighing up to 1,500 kilograms. All of this enormous mass rests on four legs that look like hydraulic pipes, legs that redefine stability and make this grazing monster a fighter not to be underestimated. Nature did not stop at giving the gaur steel-like muscles. It also placed on its head a true evolutionary helmet. The top of its skull is a thick, solid shield, capable of knocking most mammals to the ground with a single strike. For humans, just one butt from this beast is enough to send us to a tragic fate. As for its horns, they are certainly not for decoration. They are precise weapons, reaching a combined span of up to 1.14 meters. Offensive and defensive armament, as if crafted in a primitive weapons factory. Despite its dense body that looks like a solid block of raw material, the gaur can reach speeds of 48 kilometers per hour when running. It can crush you without leaving you a chance to escape, unless you are an extraordinary Olympic sprinter. Imagine this massive creature with its size, power, kinetic drive, and a spark of pent-up rage waiting to explode. And you get the perfect equation for what can only be called the grass super bull, the wild Indian Gaur. And here, many curious questions arise. Can the Bengal tiger bring the Gaur down? A tiger may weigh up to 260 kilograms at its peak. When it attacks, it leaps onto the Gaur's back, sinks its fangs into its neck, and perhaps succeeds in killing it. The Gaur's skin lies close to the muscle, giving the predator a chance to cause a quick, lethal injury. But the question remains, will it always succeed? Nature always hides mind-shocking surprises. The jaguar, for example, the most precise predator, succeeds on its first attempt 70% of the time. Lionesses succeed in 30% of first attempts. But for the Bengal tiger, the success rate is only 25%. Still, Bengal tigers include the gaur among their main prey, especially where they share the same lands, as in India's Nagarhole and Bandipur reserves. But the encounter is no simple matter. Hunting such a massive, strong, and fast animal, especially when in a rage or fierce resistance, is highly dangerous. In many cases, the tigers retreat, even flee from their prey. Real incidents were documented in those reserves where tigers suffered serious injuries after underestimating the gaur's wrath, receiving a counterblow that made them pay dearly. The arena does not end here. We will not settle for the gaur versus tiger duel. We will expand the battlefield to include other heavy grazers to see who truly deserves the crown of grass and muscle supremacy. Another challenger comes from the Great American Plains, the American bison, a formidable beast demanding respect, weighing no less than 990 kilograms and capable of short bursts of speed reaching 60 kilometers per hour. Yes, it is fast, but it does not last. It quickly tires. It lacks the aggressive gene that says, "I will chase you until you collapse, then crush your pride." The gaur, at its prime, has an extra 300 to 400 kilograms advantage. Convert this excess into impact force, and you instantly understand why the bison would beg to skip this match. Yes, the bison would surely lose. But what about the European bison? The elegant cousin from Poland and Belarus, weighing only about 650 kilograms with a speed close to the gaur's, around 50 kilometers per hour. Yet it suffers the same problem. It quickly loses breath and could never withstand a direct hit from an angry Indian giant. Let us try another beast and move toward thicker fur with the musk ox, the Viking cousin weighing 450 kilograms. He believes his butt is as powerful as Thor's hammer, but if he meets the gaur, he will be left without a hammer. A counterblow from a 1-ton beast would be enough to turn him into a rolling ball of fur. The conclusion? The gaur wins again. Now, let's consider another challenger, the yak. This forgotten creature measures about 3.30 meters in length like the gaur, but maxes out at just 580 kilograms. True, it is an extraordinary mountain climber, able to travel 40 kilometers in low-oxygen environments, granting it high endurance. But in a flat-ground face-off, that skill is useless. No matter how much it resists, it lacks the strength to topple the gaur in one strike. The result? Another victory for the gaur. Now let's raise the level and talk about the African buffalo, the king of the plains, known as the Cape buffalo. It is massive, territorial, aggressive, and extremely dangerous. If any creature could truly match the gaur, it would be this savanna beast. But let's return to the numbers. Maximum weight, 900 kilograms. Length, 2.50 meters. Speed, 40 kilometers per hour. So the buffalo is smaller, lighter, and slower than the gaur. But can it win? Perhaps the answer is yes. The possibility exists, especially since it lives in an environment where only the brave survive. Confrontation is part of its daily life, and it might succeed with a surprise attack or desperate defense. But does it win every time? We don't think so. Reality indicates that the gaur will win most encounters due to its advantage in mass, momentum, and shock muscle structure. Being a giant is only part of the equation. The gaur has something deeper, something hidden under its thick skin, a power it uses only when it decides that the time of grass is over and the time of war has begun. The gaur is not just a collision machine on 4 legs, it is a silent chess player. Picture this scene. A group of females with their calves gathers in a defensive formation resembling a security compound, a living wall made of up to 20 bodies, each weighing hundreds of kilograms, aligned to shield the young from fast cheetahs and prowling tigers. Then, in an instant, a single female lets out a deep bellow, like an alarm siren blasting through a silent forest. This bellow does not merely declare danger, but reorganizes the formation. Within seconds, the plains turn into a circle of energy-charged horns, mothers on the outside, calves in the middle. Meanwhile, the adult males roam alone, independent systems walking heavily between the trees. But when mating season comes, silence turns into a majestic call, with a bellow echoing through the forest for 3 kilometers. A sound that shakes your chest and terrifies you. But the problem is that every loud call brings with it the curse of rivals. When 2 meet, the battle starts instantly. Whoever wins earns the right to love. But there is an undefeatable enemy. An enemy that makes no bellow but a muffled sound from a gun's muzzle. An enemy that does not declare war, but picks its angle and pulls the trigger. Yes, man is the gaur's deadliest enemy. The fight between weapon and gaur is never fair. It usually ends before it begins. Since 1972, the wild gaur in India has been under strict monitoring as its spread became a concern. The gaur, in truth, is an enormously fertile and prolific creature. Its natural predators are not enough to limit its population. Without humans, the gaur turns into a massive ecological invasion, threatening the balance of the ecosystem. But the tragedy is that some so-called legal hunters do not hunt the gaur but the tigers, the only natural predator able to restrain its expansion. Thus, in a cycle of absurdity, humans fire their bullets, killing the predator, the herd grows, and the balance collapses. So the gaur, considered the mightiest of its kin, unmatched in mass, aggression, and speed with its devastating pushing and butting power, remains in a bitter paradox, a vegetarian beast. A bulldozer-like monster that feeds only on grass, yet is stronger than all. So if you ever come across a tourist ad promising you a gaur photo safari, reconsider your choices and acknowledge the danger of what you're about to do. Make sure your vehicle is ready for escape at the right moment. The gaur may look tolerant, but it does not sign peace treaties with strangers. It might suddenly decide that the raised hand holding a phone to snap a picture is a suspicious, dangerous hand that must be attacked instantly. In that moment, all one can do is pray for survival from the wrath of the approaching beast.